John here, Elton's Retirement Journey and Travel, back with another meeting of the Retiring Club. In this meeting of the Retiring Club, we're going to be taking a look at investment mix. And as I go along, I'm going to explain how I have these investments, what their category is, and what I look at when I'm evaluating these investments. So I want to welcome you back to this meeting and just a little follow up on the previous meeting, promotion to retirement. I did have one of the viewers comment and made a suggestion about your hobbies and other interests that you may have while you're working or when you're in retirement. And what we were talking about is actually monetizing your hobbies as well as other things that you've done in your professional lifetime that will help you bring some income in. And after I read his comments, I had thought about my brother. He is into the model trains, the Lionel trains, and he goes to these shows. And what he did was he developed a kind of like a portable system built on wood, where it has the tracks on it, and it's got some of the some method of putting up the houses. He builds all that stuff, the tunnels and strings the lights and all of that kind of stuff. And what he was able to do is monetize his skills in repairing those model trains. He's got a customer that drops all these cars off, the Lionel rail cars, and I believe he repairs the engines as well. And he would go in and change out the wheels and fix the little sliding doors and do the painting and probably replace the motors in the engines and get them all running again. And then he would invoice the guy, and he's able to do that in his spare time, which is a very, very rare skill, to be able to fix those train cars, because you may go to a yard sale and pick up all these cars and find out that some of them don't run well. They're always derailing for some reason or something like that. But that's the kind of work that he does as a hobby, and he was able to monetize that. When we were working at the stadium in the during COVID, we all got unemployment. And I talked with a couple of guys once we went back to work. And one of the guys said he went out and invested in some DJ equipment, and that he was doing special events and wedding receptions. And he was making the money back on his investment into the DJ gear. And another gentleman said he went out and invested, I think he said it was $1,300. But what it is, it's like the U-Haul hitch, where you rent a U-Haul and you get this hitch and you roll your car up on it and you strap it down and you tow your car behind it. So he bought that hitch, and what he does is he tows people's vehicles. And the last thing is, when I worked at the recycling company, the guys would go out on bulk day with their trucks, and they knew what metals to pick up. Uh, the washing machines, refrigerators, they were all tin, and they knew how to remove the parts from it, the compressors and all of the Freon and things like that, which would get a deduction. And there were some guys making 25, $35,000 going out on bulk day and picking up all this scrap metal, and they would bring it in, and we would separate it and weigh it out, and then they would get their checks cut right away and go over to the cashier. So monetizing in your retirement is something that we all can do if we got special set of skills, or we can start homing those skills while we're still working. So I thought that was a really good comment that he left on my channel. And it's just one comment. I don't get many of them. And it's promoting yourself to retirement. He was saying you don't necessarily have to do that. You can do these other things too. And there's a lot of people like that. For example, let's say that you worked at, as a young guy, you worked at a shop called Just Breaks. They're all down here. At least they were here in Georgia. I don't even know if they're still alive, but all they do is work on brakes. Let's just say that you had a garage and you had all the tools in and you've got all the experience with working on all these brakes and these different models, and you wanted to do that, all you do is just join a business association, maybe put a little ad in it, or talk with the pastor at your church and see if there's other business minded people. And you guys can either have some kind of publication or some kind of open house for your church or in your community. Okay, so we're going to take a look at my investment mix just to show you how I go about analyzing my investments. So these seven here are the Magnificent Seven. The actual seven investments are in these investments here. And as you can see, I got this big heavy hitter FXAIX. It's in a Roth 401k. I only got $1,100 because that's a part-time job. But there's a lot of people on YouTube that have this one and they are doing quite well. This Harbor Capital Appreciation, this one came over with the Charles Schwab. So when I was at Alere Health, I had started putting money in it. And what I do is I go back at each year and I start looking at how these investments perform. Of course, you know there are going to be some down years like in 2022, but these investments all did quite well last year. Now, the two here that are in green, these investments, I was able to take money out last year, like a couple $1,000 because they had reached their all-time high. And that helped me create the fixed income that I used when I first retired in September. I had been doing the skimming for about 5 years, and I was able to take an IRA distribution of 12,400, and we'll see how that handled the taxes, how I handle the taxes when I do my 2025 and see how much I owe. I got a grand put away for it, but I'm hoping it doesn't do too much. By me resigning, leaving 3 months, I think that I'm pretty going to be pretty good, but you never know until you finish it. And this BlackRock large cap, that one's has gone up to $10. It's a good buy right now. And this is in my Roth here. Okay. So I'm big and heavy on technology. The prize investments I have are going to be this Fidelity Select software and IT services. I got into that when I started with E-Trade. That was part of the rollover from the data center job. I had waited around before I did the rollover because it was still the market was still going up, and I got to a certain point. I said enough is enough, and then I sold and rolled over at one of the peaks of the market. So that was my strategy. Help me grow my investment, but the rollover helped out. This Jensen Technology and the Royal Oak Technology. Now, the Royal Oak Technology, I started the Roth account after I got in with E-Trade after about a few months. I got my 90 days in. So I opened up the account and then I eventually funded it. And I waited until we got into 2020 and the market started sliding. And then when it slid down to about $27, I bought $5,000 worth. And because I bought it so low, it has really, really appreciated a lot because I got that lot of shares at 27, under $28. And this Jensen Technology, I had did dollar cost averaging. It's trading pretty well right now, but it has gone up to $30. And these two are in the Roth IRAs. I'm looking for these two to surge again so I can withdraw some money out of it and use it. And here's my large cap. This Fidelity Magellan ETF is my first ETF. I had liquidated one of the investments that wasn't doing too well, and then I moved it into this, and I started the growing um, the returns on that. I actually took $1,000 out of this investment this year to help fund my early retirement for 2025 because I had 3 months, well, technically 2 months that I needed to foot the bill, and I need at least 3,200. But I did so well that I was able to have some residual. These investments is Davis, New York, and Franklin Mutual. Um, I think that the shares flipped from C to Class A, but I'm getting about a 10% yield on the capital gains out of these two. They combined about 48 to close to 50,000, and they yielded these two right here, $4,800 in capital gains. And that was a large portion of the capital gains from the traditional IRA that I used to fund the first 6 months of my retirement in 2026. And now we have healthcare. So we got this highlighted in yellow. This investment has grown really, really well since 2012, but now it's only yielding 3.8%. So before it starts going negative and start eating into all those gains I've accumulated over the years with the reinvestment of capital gains, I've got that highlighted yellow because I may just go ahead and liquidate that, drop this one, and move it into something else. And if we take a look down here, I've got my mid cap investments. This Clearbridge Communication pays out a lot in capital gains. It's about well over 1,000, maybe 1,200 bucks. So I kind of want to keep that, but it'll eventually need to go as well. But this Trans-American Small Mid Cap, it is below the cost basis right now. So I've got this labeled a loss leader. Once it hits $29 a share, I'm going to liquidate it and I'm going to move it into some other investments that are um, probably one of the E-Trade no fee investments that they came out with last year. While I was at Morgan Stanley E-Trade, I got an email before it went to the public about the new no fee funds that they're coming out. And I'll probably go into those a little bit. I know that Diamond Nest Egg had covered the new E-Trade funds, the zero fee funds from Fidelity as well as E-Trade. These E-Trade funds are only a year old. Their anniversary comes up in April, and I'm waiting for the market to slide a little bit, and then I'm going to jump on those. This new one, this Fidelity Select Financial Services, since I was working for a Wall Street bank, I knew how well they were doing. I had went ahead and invested in this fund here, and it it's up to 17% in its first year. I think its anniversary is coming up this weekend. We may do take a close look at this in one of the retiring club meetings as a 1 year review. And then I got natural resources here. This is all your petroleum companies. Now, this investment has done very, very well, but I only put a few $100s in it. And this is a good one right here because we're still using a lot of fossil fuels right now. And these natural resources have a tendency to do very well. And then we've got my international fund here. I plan to add some additional international. This thing paid about $1,300 in capital gains and had a really good year. So what I do is I look at these ticker symbols and look at how they did the previous year, and then I make a decision on, you know, do I need to adjust the portfolio? So the green means that these investments rise so high that I can pull gains out of them. And the yellow is a caution. You may want to take a look at that before this starts dropping negative. It's only doing 3.8%. Then you could take that whole investment and move it to something else. And then this one here, you just want to move that in. It's the cost basis is below the market value, so it's losing. And that is about it on the investment mix. I'll go up these a little slower just in case you want to take a look. Now, my idea of investing is trying to keep the share price below $25 a share as a do it yourself investor. And I checked on the management fees. The highest one is 1.2%, but all the rest of them are below 1%. And I'm going to start adding some zero fees in here. And I'm going to start taking a look at some semiconductor um, related funds to shore up my technology. So this is it on my meeting at the retiring club. We got these like so many coins, and eventually we'll start consolidating some of these as I go through But since I'm living off the capital gains and try and use that to fund, and I got so many years to go, I want to take a very, very close approach with my retirement since I'm only in it for 4 months. I just want to be cautious, but I do have this year funded, which I'm very, very happy with. So these are all the ticker symbols. This is the investment mix. And this concludes our meeting at the Retiring Club. And thanks for watching. If you like this content, go ahead and share.